Want even more Hawaii travel tips for your trip? To celebrate launching our new premium podcast membership, all new members on the free plan get access to bonus episodes released during June and our private Facebook group. If you want even more, like live Q&As, personalized travel help, and live interactive episodes with our guests, paid plans start at just $5 a month. Sign up free at hawaiisbesttravel.com/members or tap the link in the show notes below. I'll see you there. In this episode, you'll discover the biggest mistake most travelers make at Waimea Valley and the secret experiences most visitors completely miss. If you think it's just about swimming under a waterfall, you're about to unlock the real untold story of Waimea Valley that locals wish every visitor knew. Aloha and welcome to Hawaii's Best, the podcast helping travelers plan an unforgettable Hawaii vacation with insider tips and featuring local voices. I'm Brian Murphy, a husband, dad of 3, and certified Hawaii destination expert. Each week, I share local insights, travel tips, and up-to-date news, sometimes with guests across Hawaii and sometimes solo, all to help you plan your next trip to Hawaii. Most visitors to Waimea Valley, which is on the north shore of Oahu, they often overlook the sacred sites that locals consider the true heart of the valley. So changing your perspective can turn what might seem like a typical tourist stop, maybe as you're going about your day and maybe stopping off before lunch. But this can be a meaningful cultural experience for you and those you're traveling with. There's also a growing trend. Now 60% of visitors are choosing not to swim in the waterfall. And the reason behind that might actually surprise you. Welcome to episode 165 of Hawaii's Best. On the show, we love learning from local businesses and voices and helping to travel with aloha. And today, I'm thrilled to be talking with Richard Pezzullo, the Executive Director of Waimea Valley. Waimea Valley is deeply rooted in Hawaiian history and continues to be a place for Hawaiian spirituality and traditions. As stewards and employees of Hi'ipaka LLC, they strive in their daily responsibilities to Waimea Valley and its host culture to celebrate and share a vibrant and living Hawaiian culture with the world, giving us insider access to the valley. Today, you're going to discover the untold story of Waimea Valley's sacred sites and why there's so much more than just a waterfall. By the end of this episode, you'll know if you're making the common mistake of treating Waimea as just another Instagram spot to check off your list. And if you are, it's okay. You have time to maybe shift your focus to the cultural programs and the sacred sites here at the Valley. You'll walk away with a deeper connection to Hawaii and help protect a place that means so much to the people who call it home. Let's go ahead and let's talk story with Richard Pezzullo from Waimea Valley. So Waimea Valley, we were actually just there about a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. It's such a popular destination for a lot of visitors because when you're there, you can just feel the history, right? You can just feel as you're walking the grounds. I thought it'd be great to get a little bit more behind the scenes of Waimea Valley. A lot of people have this on their list of must-dos, but it's such a special place, more so than just something to cross off your list. And that's kind of what I wanted to dive into today.
Unfortunately, most people come here because they can swim under the waterfall.
Right.
And that's not what we're about.
Exactly. So maybe you can give us an overview of Waimea Valley, specifically its significance for Hawaiian culture and history.
Sure. Well, we believe the valley was first settled around 1,000 years ago. And we know that the Haleolono site, this is a heiau or a temple, dates back to the 1400s. It was actually carbon dated, the site, to the 1400s. And we restored, we rebuilt or restored what we think it would have looked like using a lot of the original rock work. We know that the valley was occupied hundreds of years ago, maybe 1,000. And it's one of the few intact ahupuaha, a land division that the Hawaiians would manage in a sustainable way. It's pie-shaped, goes from the ocean all the way to the tip of the mountain. And we also know that at some point in the history on Oahu, the valley was set aside to be ruled by high priest or kahuna nui. And the last high priest who ruled the valley was Kahuna Nui Heveheva. And Heveheva was the spiritual advisor to King Kamehameha I, or the Great, who unified the Hawaiian Islands. He's actually believed to be buried here. We have many of his descendants, somewhere around 10,000, come in to visit the burial site, which of course we do not publicize. It's not something we really want visitors to visit. So, very, very deep cultural significance, history. There were thousands of people in the valley. We have remnants of agricultural terrace walls, which were used to grow crops, and our kauhale site, which we restored. We know that some of the hale we rebuilt are on original sites, and this is where one of the high priests and his family would have lived. It's like a small village, 7 hale on the site. We know there's some ancient rock walls there. And we just so happen to be opening a new exhibit. We actually received funding from Hawaii Tourism Authority.
Oh, cool.
We're going to be exhibiting a number of artifacts that have been found in the valley. They're going to be on display in this site, Kauhale site, the village site. They include everything from poi pounders to octopus lures to, I think there's even a wooden canoe prow, but these are all artifacts that were found there. So a lot of deep cultural significance, history here in the valley.
Great. I gave a little bit of your bio, but for listeners, if you can maybe expand upon what your role is and what does that look like day in and day out for you?
Yeah, so I'm the executive director. I've been here since 2012. I work with all my department managers, my directors, and we basically manage Waimea Valley. We make sure that we present it in the most culturally significant way. It's really important for us, for our visitors, to know that this is not just a place where you can go swim under the waterfall. This is a place where you can learn about Hawaiian history, about the history of the valley, about the history and culture of Hawaii. That's our main role, myself and my team.
Your mission, Waimea Valley, is to preserve and perpetuate the human, culture, and natural resources of Waimea for generations through education and stewardship. That's a big role. I want to give you an opportunity to expand on that.
We have several programs here for our visitors that also educate. One of them is our Ka'apuni o Waimea program. This is where our visitors get to visit 3 cultural sites. We have staff there who teach them about Hawaiian values that are associated with each site. And if they retain what we've taught them, they actually get to earn a Ho'okipa ambassador pin, souvenir pin, and a certificate. That's one of our new programs. We also have our Kauhale exhibit. This is separate from the exhibit of the artifacts. This is the actual Kauhale site, where we, again, have staff, and we do have some artisans there demonstrating, but it's a museum-style exhibit. We actually have audio in each of the hale that talk about the hale, the purpose of the hale, and some of the sounds you might hear in each hale. And we also have a display of items that would normally be found. And again, we have staff there that can talk, the different hale in the site. And then we also have the artisan program where we have 15 artisans. They do everything from weapon making to lauhala weaving to feather making to lei making. And they're stationed throughout the valley. We actually have a program through the Department of Interior that provides us with supplies and materials that the artisans can use to have the visitor create a takeaway based on whatever their art form is. We actually have a kapa maker as well, which normally she's stationed in the Kauhale area. We also have an education program. And this is a program where we offer different sessions for schools K to 12. We see about 200 schools a year, so lots of opportunities. And it's education in a way that we try to make it interesting and fun, exciting. Like I say, there's takeaways. People can actually learn how to do some of the art forms that our artisans were demonstrating.
Yeah, when we were there, my family and I, we have 3 girls, and they got through all their spots and got their stamps.
Mm-hmm.
What was cool with that Obviously, you got to interact and talk to, the people at these exhibits as we're going through the grounds. But I noticed there's so much activity happening as you're walking through. Someone's getting ready for a wedding, and then you walk down a little bit further and people are diving underneath a waterfall. It's such a vast valley. But is there a spot for you that just kind of resonates more with you personally?
I find the area just past Kauhale, and I don't know why, but I always feel a really strong presence there. I don't know if it's the ancestors or what, but it's kind of interesting because you would think I would feel that more in Kauhale, but I don't know why. And it's where our ethnobotanical gardens are now. And it's actually maybe because it's close to Halei'iwi, House of Bones. And this is a cultural site that is a little bit off the main path. So on what we call our upper road, and it's probably closer to that. And I just feel a really strong presence there. I like to spend a little bit of time there when I can. I usually stop there for a while. But also the other place, of course, is the waterfall. I've never gone into the water. I've never swam in the waterfall because I respect what the waterfall is about. It was there for our warriors, the warriors who were wounded. And it's actually considered sacred. But I'll usually, early morning, I'll go up and I'll spend some time there. And I just find real peace and serenity there that, prepare myself for the day. Those are probably the two favorite places that I have. When it comes to gardens, my favorite garden is the Torch Ginger Alley, which is in bloom right now. We have spring just like everywhere else in the world. And we see a lot of our flowers coming in. And that's when Torch Ginger Alley is in full bloom. And it's just beautiful.
You mentioned something I wonder if we can get into a little bit. Out of respect, you don't swim in the waterfall. I haven't either. How does Waimea Valley balance tourism while preserving Hawaiian culture and the environment and that layer of respect?
Yeah, we really are careful about what we allow here. When we were doing our strategic planning, everybody in the organization had input into the plan. And we asked the question, should we stop swimming? And 99% said we shouldn't because it generates the revenue we need to sustain the valley and to take care of it. But we should work towards that goal. And that's why we're putting a much stronger emphasis on all the cultural programming. The valley has been branded as a place to go swimming under a waterfall for 50 years. So we're working really hard to change that by offering all the cultural program and really presenting the valley through its history, its cultural significance. And, we're going to just continue to try and educate our visitors so that, go look at the waterfall. You don't need to swim in it. I've had people approach me. They want to put in a zip line. Oh, you'll make lots of money. Sorry, no zip line. I had somebody come and say they wanted to put a train track up to the waterfall so people could ride a train up to the waterfall. Yeah. And I said, no. That's not appropriate. I had somebody who wanted to take pictures photos, set up a little photo operation at the waterfall. And, the coconut bra thing and the whole, the costumes. And I said, no, that's not appropriate, So we really are careful about what we allow here. We honor the valley and the culture and history of the valley. But until we can shift the focus away from the waterfall, it generates a lot of revenue for us. So we do in-person surveys. We've been doing more and more. We are seeing that the last survey I looked at, only about 40% of the visitors were swimming. We're hoping that, that trend continues and we're going to monitor it. And at some point, hopefully we can stop.
And I wonder, releasing new exhibits and stuff like that will help. The valley itself, it's such a beautiful walk. It's mostly all paved. It's shaded. It's great for, we were there with my in-laws. So it's great for those with multiple generations as you're visiting. It's an activity that, you can walk to a waterfall, which isn't unlike a lot of hikes in Hawaii, where you have to do a real trek sometimes. Someone's maybe planning the very first visit to Waimea Valley. How much time would you recommend someone plan for a visit?
I would say at least an hour and a half.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the things I didn't talk about is we started a hula program. These are top performing halau. And some actually had danced or are currently dancing in Merry Monarch. So these are
Oh, wow.
top halau. They're here on Wednesdays, Sundays, Saturday. I would say at least an hour and a half to experience all of our programming. And even if you're not swimming, this is just experiencing all our programs, all of our gardens. We have about, we say, 300-acre botanical garden that has plants from all over the world, including a lot of native Hawaiian plants. We have a lot of rare and endangered plants here. We have some plants that can't be found anywhere else in the world. We actually have 7 cultural sites in the area that our visitors get to experience. So lots to see, lots to do. We also have a tour that we just started a couple of years ago. It's called our Kipahele tour. And this is where you get a behind-the-scenes botanical and cultural tour on an electric shuttle and really in-depth information on the valley, on the history, on the gardens. So, that's becoming more and more popular. So, yeah, hour and a half at least. If you're a real botanical enthusiast, at least 2 hours, because there's lots of gardens. We have really a lot of very interesting, unique plants here in Waimea Valley.
And you got Toa Luau there. It's one of the most
we got the luau.
highly rated luau's in Hawaii.
Yeah, they do a good job.
There's a link on your website about volunteering. Now, is that something that is available for visitors or more kama'aina?
Yes, visitors and kama'aina.
Okay.
If they just check in, if they want to come in and volunteer, they just check in at the visitor center. If they happen to be here, and we have a sign in the visitor center about volunteering for our visitors. So we actually have 1,500 acres above the waterfall. We're doing reforestation work. We fenced in about 100 acres just to keep the pigs out of the new plantings. But we've planted a lot of koa, a lot of sandalwood. I think we're somewhere up around 60,000 plants and trees that have gone up on our Mauka forest area. We do take volunteers up there a couple times a month, and it's open for visitors as well. They just have to check our website to see when we have our next volunteer day in our Mauka area.
That's great. A lot of people who listen to this and who I've talked to have expressed interest in, volunteering opportunities. Just working with the land the exhibits are great and the education is great, but getting out into the land and actually, whether it be removing invasive species or planting native, it's just something special about that. Is just, you can't describe it unless you actually do it. So that's cool that you guys offer that. Just curious, we talked a little bit about tourism, and what would you love to see made better in regards to tourism to Hawaii? Like, what is, like, if you had a magic wand, this would be like kind of an ideal balance, if you will.
Yeah. And again, I think it's having people come here because of the culture and the history. Most people come because it's beautiful. There's swing palm trees and beautiful beaches. But I would like to see more people come here to appreciate the culture, the history. And I know there's a lot who do come here for that, but there's a lot who don't.
Yeah.
We see all types of visitors here. If I stand by our ticket booth exit coming out of the valley, and I usually mahalo people, and I can tell the ones who really, really appreciated being in the valley. And like you said, there's a special feel to the valley. They don't know why they feel the way they do. They think it's because it's so beautiful and they saw a waterfall and lots of gardens, but it's the place that's making them feel that way. And it's just really, really makes me feel really good to see those people come out. And, sometimes the people in line buying their tickets, they'll say, what was it like? And they'll go, oh my gosh, you got to go in there. That really makes me happy.
That's cool. On a personal note, if you had a week off, where do you like to go to or vacation?
Well, I just went to Fiji and New Zealand.
Oh, all right. Nice.
I love Fiji. I spent a lot of time in the South Pacific, Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea, Fiji, and I just love that part of the world. It's just so different. People don't realize how a lot of people live. So Fiji is one of my favorite places, but I love New Zealand. Was just incredible. And of course, we all love Vegas.
It is a ninth island, yes.
If I had my preference, I'd go to Fiji or back to the Solomons. One of these days, Tahiti, plan on getting there. Beautiful places with really nice people, really genuine people. So,
yeah. One of the things I love to ask everyone who comes on. Either it's about food or like what else to do, but we're talking about one of the best, I think, things someone ought to put on their itinerary is definitely Waimea Valley. But say someone's leaving the valley and it's around lunchtime. Where are we going to go eat? What are your top spots?
Yeah. Well, I like Maya's, which is in Haleiwa. But, a lot of people ask, where's Giovanni's shrimp?
Yeah.
Because they read about it, right?
Yeah.
But I'll usually send them to Maya's. That's one of my favorite restaurants in Haleiwa. Small, and they do these nice tapas, and they usually have a fish special there, and nice little restaurant worth going to.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you want someone to know? One, visiting the valley, but even more general, if someone visiting Hawaii for the first time, what would you want them to know?
Yeah, they should know that Hawaii is a special place. It's not just a place, everybody associates Waikiki with Hawaii. And there's a lot more to the Waikiki experience. Sure. And that's what we consider ourselves, the anti-Waikiki. And, that's what they should be looking for. They should be looking at, first of all, trying to experience the real culture, the real Hawaii. And the only way they're going to do it is by coming to places like Waimea Valley. What makes us a little bit different from a lot of the other places visitors might go is that we're authentic. This is a real cultural site, and this is what they should be looking for. They should be looking for experiencing the real Hawaii. And it's, everybody wants to do the Waikiki thing and go to the nice beaches, but they should also be looking at experiencing the real Hawaii.
Love that. Well, again, thank you for your time. And how can people find Waimea Valley? What's the easiest way?
Our website, waimeavalley.net. Okay. And of course, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and that's the easiest way to find us.
Awesome. And we'll link all that below. So for those listening, we'll link the website and all the social media accounts below in the episode description of this podcast. Great. Thank you so much for your time and what you do. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Aloha.
Aloha. Mahalo to Richard and the team at Waimea Valley for their time. And what a great eye-opening conversation about one of Oahu's most culturally significant sites. I think one of the big takeaways, aside from all the amazing things that you can experience in the valley, is give yourself at least 90 minutes to truly experience what makes this place incredibly special. It's not just about crossing another waterfall off the list. It's about connecting with authentic Hawaiian culture and history that you simply can't find anywhere else. So if you found this episode helpful for your Hawaii trip planning, hit that follow button on Apple Podcasts or Spotify so you don't miss our next episode, which is about surprising facts about Hawaii you might not know. And until next time, as always, live with aloha. Mahalo for listening to this episode of Hawaii's Best. To stay up to date on future episodes, hit follow on your podcast app. Hawaii's Best is a production of Shorebreak Media Group with editing by Easy Podcast Solutions and music courtesy of our friends Stick Figure.